Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am just so thrilled to be up here once again today to be able to speak to another private member's bill. And this time, Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to rise to speak to Bill S-201, an act respecting a National Philanthropy Day, sponsored in this House by the honourable colleague from Halifax West. As the former Executive Director of the United Way in Sudbury, this is a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, and anything which encourages charitable donations is certainly praiseworthy in my mind, Madam Speaker. In essence, the goal of this bill is undisputable, and I believe that all members of this House, as well as the majority of the Canadian public, will be in strong support for the recognition of a National Philanthropy Day on November 15th, which this bill proposes. But before I delve into the merits of this legislation, let me provide some background and context. This day was celebrated for the first time on November 15, 1986, and Canada was the first country to officially recognize this day back in 2009, when the Honourable Minister of Heritage gave a statement in the House declaring that henceforth November 15th would be known as National Philanthropy Day in Canada. Since then, there have been 6 attempts to formally enshrine November 15th as the National Philanthropy Day in Parliament. However, all 6 attempts have been stymied by prorogations and elections, and unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the bill ultimately died on the order paper. So, I think it's safe to presume that this time, after some delay in Parliament, we will officially enshrine November 15th as National Philanthropy Day in Canada. It's important to note, Madam Speaker, while nearly 70% of Canadians made a charitable donation in the last 12 months, I truly believe that a National Philanthropy Day will heighten public awareness about the importance of charitable giving and will ultimately raise this figure to the point that nearly 100% of Canadians will be engaging in charitable activities on a regular basis, with the majority of Canadians indicating they expect to give the same or more to charity in 2012 than the $487 average which was given in 2011, it appears that enshrining this day might have the effect of driving further charitable giving. I think this is a completely achievable goal, Madam Speaker, particularly if you take dollars and cents out of the equation. I think you do this, you'd already find that close to 100% penetration in the charitable sector, as low-income Canadians, who often can't afford to give financial contributions, do indeed give their time to charitable organizations. I can think of many people who are unable to give financially who but dedicated their blood, sweat and tears to the United Way Santarade Sudbury District when I was the Executive Director there. It's these contributions which give rise to the claim that Canada is one of the most charitable countries in the world. And while we're changing to Mr. Speaker, I would like to recognize that Sudbury, my own community of Sudbury, Mr. Speaker, is the 4th most giving community in Canada. And I am very proud. I am very proud of the people of Sudbury who always give of their heart, Mr. Speaker. Of course, you know what? And speaking of miners, someone mentioned miners. The miners at Steelworkers, the Steelworkers Local 6500, when I was running the United Way and over the last few years, they were able, with the INCO and now Vale, were able to come up with a $1 million contribution through employment giving, through employee giving, and through employer contributions to the United Way. That $1 million, Mr. Speaker, went to help fund 64 programs in our community. That was a fantastic endeavor. And of course, enshrining a day to encourage people to give, we'll only see more and more of this happening each and every day. You know, Mr. Speaker, as well, philanthropy has been vitally important historically to Canada. From organizations like the Shriners to the Lions Club to the hundreds of Rotary clubs right across the country, of which I am a former member, our nation has become what it is today through acts of passion. Unfortunately, I had to resign. Unfortunately. Dedication and charity, which the individual members of these organizations have given to their communities and the country more broadly. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I don't have the time, I know because you're going to give me the time soon, to name all of these organizations which do great charitable work right across the country. But needless to say, Mr. Speaker, there are thousands who do great work but often do not receive the recognition they so rightfully deserve. And I'm glad to say that some of them this year will be getting a Queen's Jubilee Medal as well. Although I can't name each great organization individually, only I have given 10 minutes to speak on this subject, I would also like to use this opportunity to recognize some of the great donors who contribute so much in my riding of Sudbury. Jerry Lougheed Jr., Joffrey Lougheed, who just last week was awarded the Sacred Letters at Huntington University, Abbas Homayed, and the late, great Dr. James Graspy, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but would contribute at times $5,000 to specific organizations. And he was a great leader in our community, and he is sadly missed. Mr. Speaker, it's not just individuals who make important contributions to communities across the country. For instance, in my riding of Sudbury, mining giant Inco, which is now Vale, had a remarkable track record in terms of making charitable contributions which benefit the whole of Northern Ontario. For instance, the Maison Valley Hospice provides valuable, compassionate care to the families of terminally ill patients from right across northeastern Ontario. The contribution which the hospice makes to the community cannot be taken for granted, Mr. Speaker, and truly, without the support of corporate contributions, we would not be able to continue offering respite to patients and their loved ones. I, too, Mr. Speaker, am very proud to say that I'm the honorary chair of their Wheels for Hospice. It's a motorcycle ride that raises money every year for the hospice, and it's something I'm very proud to be involved with on a yearly basis. Mr. Speaker, another noteworthy contribution which merits applause is Bell Canada's Let's Talk campaign to raise awareness about mental health. In fact, the campaign is so well regarded that the Association of Fundraising Professionals will honour Bell Canada as this year's most exemplary philanthropic company with the 2012 Freeman Philanthropic Services Award for Outstanding Corporations. I would like to applaud the work of Bell Canada for this campaign, while also pointing out that this is one example of how corporate charitable contributions are vitally important. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I truly hope that this bill will receive unanimous support in the House, as I truly believe that philanthropy helps Canadians, and this bill would encourage Canadians to make more charitable donations, whether they be financial or otherwise. Mr. Speaker, truly, without the work of thousands of volunteers in our community, without the donations of literally thousands of people in each and every one of our communities, we would not have the great services that are offered in each and every one of our communities. So from coast to coast to coast, I tip my hat, as I'm sure every MP in this House does, to say thank you to everyone who gives to charity, who gives of their time, who gives of their resources, and we are a better country for it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.